He's wearing the Hardy Boys shirt. I know you guys probably can't really see it, but in support of our boys. Hopefully Jeff is doing all right. I know he's had a tough little incident pop up, but we're hoping the best for him. Thoughts and prayers to the Hardy Boys.
Absolutely.
So the bet slip, Dominic, and I want people to let us know their thoughts on the poster. I was wondering, I couldn't figure out, Dominic, and maybe I'm just stupid, but I was like, okay, I don't understand, like the whole font thing going on, like where the words are like
Rapping.
yeah, it's kind of stupid. I mean, that's the part where I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Don't need that.
I did, and I was like, what look are they going for there? I didn't realize that's like an underwater look that they're going for. Am I stupid for not recognizing that?
No, because I didn't notice it either.
But now do you kind of see what I'm saying?
A little bit, yeah. I dig
Like those
it.
two,
I see
they're
it.
facing off underwater, I guess, like Marco Polo.
Yeah, even though we're fighting in Austin, Texas, but it's fine.
But the rest, I mean, I do think a cool picture going on here.
They
cool
should have
illustration.
photocropped some like cowboy hats on them or something. I don't know.
So let's get into the singles. We'll just do what we did last time, just go down, and whenever it's our turn, it's our turn.
Yep.
I will start on our behalf. 2 units on Julian Marquez money line. Me and Dom both riding with the underdog at plus 150. We like both guys, but truthfully, I look at that fight as much more closer than those odds tell you. I'm shocked that
Yeah.
Marquez was. I actually figured it might be not the reverse, but I thought Marquez might be a slight favorite. Like if I were
agree.
making the odds, I probably would have made him a slight favorite. I just feel like the holes in Rodriguez's game have been more apparent. Like he's been in some exciting fights, gotten some exciting wins, but he's like, the Jun Young Park fight, he really had to battle through. I mean, he was literally 2 seconds away from being out.
Oh, it was insane. Yeah.
I mean, and that shows some resolve that he has and his ability to take a punch. But the Petrosian fight, a war.
Yeah.
I thought he did enough to win, but again, he hasn't quite been able to put it together for a full 3-round fight yet. Marquez, I would say, has done that more. Yes, the Maki Pitolo fight, kind of similar situation to Jung Young Park, getting beat. He has a big comeback victory, but I think we've seen more from Marquez up to this point.
Yeah.
To where at plus 150 in a fight that we kind of value as a pick'em, I think it's great value.
Exactly, man. And I just got to ask, like, what do you think? He hasn't fought since April of last year. Sometimes layoffs are bad, but sometimes they're good. Julian Marquez is still young. We could see an improved Marquez, for all we know, coming out here, where in the meantime, his opponent has been taking beatings in his last 2 fights. So I'll be curious to see how the layoff plays out for him, too.
This is a good point. We never really know how those
Yeah.
two elements, sometimes the guy who's just staying active, even if they're taking punishment, fares better, and sometimes it's the guy who takes the layoff and lets himself recover that does better.
Yeah.
I will just say Marquez's last fight being against Sam Alvey was kind of a weird one. Sam Alvey, even at that time, was probably not UFC caliber anymore.
Yeah.
But at least, I mean, Marquez did make pretty quick work of him. So, yeah, I don't know. It should be a very fun fight, though.
I don't see how it won't be. Hopefully, anyway.
My next money line play here, I'm going Jeremiah Wells money line. I was very pleasantly surprised when I woke up today and saw that he was no longer a slight favorite. He was actually the betting favorite as of yesterday. It was kind of a pick-em fight. Still very close, but now he is the slight underdog against, why am I forgetting his opponent's name?
It's Court McGee.
Court McGee. I was thinking of, what name for some reason kept popping in my fucking head? It was the guy that Court McGee beat, that Ramiz Brahimaj.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why the harder name was coming to my head, but yes, he's going up against Court McGee. Court McGee has so much experience on Jeremiah Wells, and I will admit that. Court McGee 10-9 in the UFC, 19 fights compared to Jeremiah Wells 2-0.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge advantage. And in terms of just their professional experience, McGee 31 total fights, Jeremiah Wells 13.
Yeah.
Nearly triple. So for me, though, I think Jeremiah Wells has looked exceptional in his first 2 fights. Yeah, the Blood Diamond fight, like there was some intrigue in Blood Diamond, but
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
kind of a
I forgot.
But his debut in the UFC was against Warley Alves.
Yep.
And I would argue, Dom, that Warley Alves, I think, is a better fighter at this point than Court McGee is. So to get that win and to knock out Warley Alves, when that's not even really Jeremiah's game, said a lot about who he is already in the UFC.
Yeah.
And for Court McGee, he's a solid guy, but he's on back-to-back wins. The Brahimaj win was pretty impressive.
Very, yeah.
But you go before that, he was losing 3 straight. He had lost to Carlos Condit, Sean Brady, which no harm, no foul there. And then Diego Lima, who's now retired. I just think Court McGee, he may have some sort of IQ advantage that could maybe help him out, kind of, experience advantage that could definitely play a factor. But I value Wells's athletic gifts more in this fight, and his finishing capabilities, which Court. I keep on
did it again.
Court McGee has only been finished actually one time in the UFC.
Wow.
Which feels like I'm kind of talking against my pick.
That's all right. That's all right.
But in decisions, he's only 8-8. I mean, it's not like he's dominating decisions.
Wells can still win that method as well.
Yes. I just think that Wells, he can do it on the feet. He can do it on the ground. I think he's going to be more aggressive. I think he's much more naturally gifted at this point. Got more obvious, genetic capabilities. What am I looking for? Athleticism.
Yeah.
Plus 100. Take my money.
I like it. And I felt the same way. And when you say take my money, because when I saw Joaquin Buckley at plus 180, I was all over it. I was scared. It took me a while to add it to my Excel sheet where I keep track of everything, because I realized that Albert Duariev is very good. He is a very, he's not one-dimensional. He's well-rounded, but you know what his path to victory is, and if he implements it, you're probably screwed. But I just feel like Buckley is starting to put his game together more and more, fight by fight, win or lose, and especially after that last one, I know it was kind of a snoozer with Al Hassan, but he did show wrinkles that we hadn't seen before. Sure. Noah already alluded to that. And it's the power, too. If this fight is on the feet for any amount of time, Buckley has the advantage, and all it takes is one shot, and we've seen that from him. Duraev's chin does not hold up well against the power. We've seen that. All 3 of his losses are by knockout. And 2 guys that really aren't even as good as strikers as Joaquin Buckley either, especially like in terms of, when I say not as good, the power. So Buckley can shut anybody's lights off. And honestly, I think he can win over the course of the distance as well. I think he can get a decision win. If he gets to the ground, I think he can get up. He might even reverse positions and get a little ground and pound himself. I just think he has more path to victory at plus 180. That's a beautiful, beautiful number to take somebody that's so dangerous. Give it to me.
Mm-hmm. I got 1.65 units, and as you can kind of tell at the minus 165 rate, I'm, again, toying with the unit sizes. I'm taking a page out of GC's book from GC and Helwani. I'm doing 1.65 units that way. If it cashes, I win 1 unit. We'll see how this goes. I did that for any minus odds that I put in place, and then anything that was plus money, I just did 1 unit. So that was the strategy this week. Trying to just toy with some stuff because coming off a minus a lot of units.
Yeah.
Week, it was necessary to take another look.
Yeah.
But I got Ramos Chavez, that fight to go the distance at minus 165. I like this fight. I like Ricardo Ramos. He has been a bit inconsistent in the UFC, but what has been consistent is Danny Chavez, 3 fights in the UFC, all 3 decisions, 1 win, 1 loss, 1 draw. Yeah. The guy's done it all as long as it's going the distance. Ricardo Ramos, 5 decisions in his 9 UFC fights. Typically, if he is... he's 2-2 basically in fights that don't go to distance. 2 knockout losses for him. He does have 1 sub win in the UFC and 1 knockout win. it's the game of odds here, right? At minus 165. I think this is a fight that very much could go to distance and very much will, just because the way these styles clash.
Yeah.
Ricardo Ramos is going to be the aggressive of the 2, but even he is not consistently aggressive. That's kind of his kind of where he falters sometimes.
Right.
So
Right.
It's an interesting fight, but one that I think no matter who wins, they're seeing the judges' scorecard. So had to take it.
I like it.
And then next one, also 1.65 units. That's always nice. Minus 165 again. This is a bet that I didn't actually place the first time this fight came around, but I'm kind of glad I got a second chance here. Cerrone Lozon in our co-main event. I have it going under 2.5 rounds. This was slightly better odds than if I took that fight to not go to distance. So
it's great odds in my opinion.
Yeah,
man.
I mean that was the whole reason for me doing it. For it to not go to distance was minus 200. So you're getting quite a bit better odds for just under 2.5. I look at this as being more of like an under 1.5 type fight, if I'm being honest. But I recognize you got these two old souls here. For all we know, we're getting a decision, a war. I mean, you just never know. But both guys have finished much more fights than they've went to a decision in. And at this point in their careers, they can't really take the punishment, but they can still deliver it.
Exactly.
So I think that's a good recipe for that fight ending pretty quick.
Yeah, and essentially copy and paste what Noah just said to the last single play on the bet slip here. It's Cerrone Lozon does not start round 3. That's right, people. I'm still branching out. I'm still finding new bets on that DraftKings app. There's so much shit to look around for on there. I like this one. I've not played anything like this. I've had relatively good success with fight props / over-under, so I figured I'd take it a step further. We're going to go to not start round 3. I believe 6 out of 10 for both guys in their last 10 fights have not went to a round 3. As Noah said, they're both getting older. They're both on layoffs. I just feel like they're going to come in. They're going to go guns a-blazing, and I think someone does get finished. I kind of essentially just partnered with Noah at under 2.5. He's got 2.5 more minutes to work with than myself, but I figure we can both cash and ride off into the sunset with that method there. So I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I contemplated when I saw your bet pop up, because I didn't see that when I was going through. See, Dom always digging a little deeper. I was tempted to actually change my pick, but I'll take the minus 165, 40, the minus 40 difference, and give myself just that extra half round just in case. So.
I will say one more thing quickly before the parlay piece, and there was to not start round 2. So if you're anticipating a first round finish, I believe for the fight in there it was plus 200. I was so close to picking that just because of Lozon's success.
Just a sprinkle,
yes, for those that are looking to find value somewhere, if you're struggling, there is a little bit there if you're interested, because I think it is going to be a violent fight.
Very true. Now on to the parlays, and
this is dangerous.
Yeah, look, we haven't learned a damn thing.
No.
Let's break this down a little bit, Dom. 6 parlays.
Woo!
All of them two legs.
Yep.
Which I think is a sign of growth for us.
Yes, this is true.
A sign that we're smartening up a little bit. Now, we are doubling down on parlays, which is dangerous. I mean, for me, I'm pretty sure, again, the Cincinnati Reds had a better start to their season than I've had up to this point with parlays.
Yeah.
But when the value's there, you got to go for it.
Yeah, 100%.
For me, it starts with my moneyline parlay, 2 units, Cody Stamann and Adrian Yanez. 1.82 units, it's minus 182 on the odds. Cody Stamann taking on Eddie Wineland.
Yeah.
Eddie Wineland's 6-9 in the UFC. Despite the fact he's had a great career, fought for a title at one point in time. He was really good with WEC, so he kind of came in at the tail end of his prime. But, who he is now, he is not that same guy that fought for a title back in the day. He is very much a diminished version of that. You saw him, he had a highlight reel, lost to Sean O'Malley and whatnot. Cody Stamann's not, he's been on a tough run.
He never has quite put it together.
Cody Stamann has lost 3 fights in a row. But you look at the matchup, and Cody Stamann's just a great wrestler, a great grappler. I think he's going to give Eddie Wineland a lot of trouble with that. I was close, Dom, to doing like some sort of Cody Stamann by decision, but I knew that if I did that, it's going to fucking.
Yep, I had a couple of
those. He's going to get like a last second submission win, and it's just not going to be good. Adrian Yanez, look, I still think that fight's a little bit closer than what the odds are telling me, but I still value Yanez as one of the bigger favorites on this card that I trust. combining two of the bigger favorites that I trust here, Stamen, Yanez. I think Yanez especially, just bigger fights ahead. He's fought better competition than who Tony Kelly is at this point, and I think that says a lot about what we're going to see from him here. Minus 182 feels good. Feel good about it.
Yeah, that's one thing I will say for all these parlays. I do feel really good about them. I really took a different approach this week for me. So I guess, are we just going left row, right row? So I'm going to go 3 straight parlays here. So I was doing a lot of like mix and matching. How are the odds looking with these two, with these two, with these two? I was building some that had 3 legs and 4 legs. Obviously, those get me to plus money, but it's like, is it worth the risk, right? You know what I'm saying? I was trying to prioritize my reward with as low risk as possible. That's kind of what I went with this. So I'm just going to start with that first one, money line parlay. These are all money line, 2 legs apiece. First one, minus 133, Ricardo Ramos, Adrian Yanez. Good thing, Noah and I, again, always on the same page lately. Maybe it's to our detriment because we haven't been winning much lately, but we should just bet against each other. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. But I really like Ramos, actually. Ideally, he wins a decision for Noah's sake up there with the 165 play that he did earlier, but I just think he's the better well-rounded fighter. He's fought way better competition. Danny Chavez is just kind of hit or miss. Like Noah said, he's 1-1-1. When you're in there with better competition, you have more routes to victory, and Ramos, I think he gets it done really in all 3 areas of this fight. I think it's a really good performance from him. Adrian Yanez, we've talked about him a few times now. Weird that he's fighting Tony Kelly. It's going to be a scrappy fight. I don't think he's going to get him out of there easy. Dare I say, I think this fight goes the distance, and there's pretty good odds on that too if you're looking for it. But I think straight up he does win. He's the better fighter on the feet. I think he's well-rounded enough to put up a fight on the ground if it gets there. I really like the potential of Adrian Yanez. The next one, we go up a little bit. It's minus 164. Cody Stamen, the biggest favorite on the card, at minus 550. And Kevin Holland. I'm going to start with Holland because Noah's already talked about Cody. I think he is looking great at 170. I liked what I saw in the Oliveira fight. Not that it came easy. That was a scrappy fight in its own right. But I just think at this point in his career, Kevin Holland is still better than Tim Means. I think he puts up a good fight. But honestly, I still see Kevin Holland coming out and shining like he typically does in some of these matchups. Cody Stamen, he's due for a win. It's a weird match that they're putting him up against Eddie Wineland because I just feel like Cody's better everywhere. Yes, Wineland's been there, done that. He's fought a lot of guys. But Cody Stamen's resume is pretty stacked too. Whether he's winning or losing, he's fought a lot of competition. I think he gets the job done there. And then my third and final parlay and my final bet for me personally is the riskiest one, obviously, and it's because it's a minus 104. I did go Phil Hawes. I think he's just so much bigger than Darren Wynn. If he can just stay away from the takedowns, I don't see how he loses this fight. I think he could potentially even come out and shine and knock out Darren Wynn. And then I went with Jasmine Jazuda Vicious. She's already won me money once this year when I picked her as an underdog against Kay Hansen. That was basically free money. I don't understand why she was such a big underdog for that fight. I think she gets it done again. It's against Natalie Silva. She's making her UFC debut. I will say, if you're kind of doubting me here, thinking, ooh, this is risky, well, Silva is coming off of 6 straight wins, all via submission, but it's in Jungle Fight. It's against competition that is not quite up to par with Jasmine Jazuda Vicious and who she has already fought. She won on the Contender. She beat Kay Hansen in her debut. I think she's better everywhere. She's better on the feet and better in the clinch. I don't think she gets into trouble if it's on the ground, and I think she can get top position when she's down there too. So minus 104. Little risky, but damn it, I love it.
Man, no respect for Jungle Fight.
I know a lot of talent comes out of there. Don't get it wrong.
Come on. But no, I get your point. I was a bit shocked when Dominic sent me his bet slip today, and I saw the parlays the way he was doing it. I do think it's probably the smarter bet than to do like 2-3 leg parlays because that's probably what Dominic would have done last week. It's just done 2 different 3 money line parlays, and I think this is the better route. We'll see. Just because I think that doesn't mean shit because I'm terrible at this, but for what it's worth, I think it's I like where our heads are at this week.
We're really trying to switch up and find success somewhere. We're trying, man.
Yeah.
We're digging.
These next 2 parlays, I definitely like. But these are the 2 that if there were a couple plays that I thought might not cash, then I'd probably point to these. But that's kind of what you get when you're getting these kind of odds. Plus 111. I got Buckley Duraev inside the distance. I know Albert Duraev, first fight in UFC was a decision victory. You go to Buckley's last fight, also a decision victory. But when you look at these guys' careers, it doesn't necessarily paint that picture. Duraev, 9 submissions in his career. That's all he does is really submit guys. Joaquin Buckley, 10 knockouts. He's knocked people out left and right in the UFC. I think these two have such strong advantages over the other that someone is going to make a splash here and really
couldn't agree more.
Go for it. And I was very close to tag teaming with Dom and Joaquin Buckley. I mean, I really like Duraev, but I think it's a bad matchup for him in his second UFC fight. But I also did. Maybe it's just because I like him so much. I'm not gonna bet against him. But inside the distance, I think is a pretty fair play. Second line, Phil Hall's money line. Again, Phil Hall should win this fight. He has most discernible advantages outside of, I guess, the wrestling, which is a pretty big advantage for someone who leans on that as much as Darren Wynn to have. But I don't think that Phil Hall's is, again, the type of fighter, the body type, to where, I don't think Darren Wynn's necessarily going to have an easy time getting those takedowns. Phil Hall's not exactly like this super tall, lanky, light heavyweight that's going to struggle with maybe having such a... Like, sometimes we look at size and reach advantages as being in favor of the taller, bigger fighter.
Yeah.
But when you have a guy like Darren Wynn, who is so good at keeping a low base and getting takedowns... You saw, like, against Antonio Arroyo would have probably preferred to be 10 inches shorter in that fight.
Yeah, because Darren Wynn just grabs a hold of something.
Just the base is just much better for someone like him. I think Phil Hall's, though, with that 7.5-inch reach advantage is going to really give it to Darren Wynn here on the feet and have enough strength and just defensive capabilities in terms of the grappling to keep it from going there. Last parlay.
Now this one I'm interested to hear you talk about.
So Ismagulov, Kutaladze fight does go to distance. I think that these are two very smart fighters. These are two guys who, again, haven't been the most active, but are still like these Pandora's box type guys at lightweight, where you know that one of these guys is due for a big breakout.
Yeah.
But I also think that they're so smart that they're going to be a bit cautious of the others' capabilities here. And I see this fight definitely going to distance because of that. For what it's worth, I mean, again, 5 UFC fights for these two combined. All 5 have went the distance.
Yep.
The second leg, main event, Calvin Kattar, Josh Emmett. I also have this fight to go to distance. And it's all, the statistic I said earlier plays a part in it. Only one current top 10 featherweight has been finished in the last 3 years.
That's fucking nuts.
But then you look at these two. These two guys are fully capable of getting finishes. They do it a lot. They are very good fighters. But also, like I said, both 10 UFC fights, both have 6 decisions, so they're actually more heavily leaning to decisions, especially now that they're fighting when they get to the top level competition. And it's not only because... it's not necessarily because of any lack of finishing capability they possess, but it's a lot of their matchups are against these guys who can take punishment. And that's what you're getting here. Yep. Both guys not only dish punishment with the best of them, they absorb it better than almost anybody else in the whole division, anybody else in the whole UFC. So I think we're getting an absolute war here. It's always kind of risky when you're doing a fight to not go to distance, a fight to go to distance, and it's a 5-round fight, and especially a fight like this with 2 action fighters. But I don't know. I have a hard time seeing a finish here. I really do.
Yeah.
And even before I knew that stat about the last 3 years, really that stat doesn't play much of a factor here for me, Dom. It really doesn't.
They're both just so damn durable.
It's more the matchup itself, the durability, like you're saying. And I do think there's something, honestly, to the fact that it is 5 rounds, that you might see some conservation on, like, Josh
True.
Emmett. not going to go for it all with every punch he throws.
Yeah.
For Calvin Kattar, going to look to do a lot of punches and bunches, a lot of combinations, putting together some nice boxing combinations, but he's probably not going to put everything behind each punch.
Right.
I think 5 rounds is what you're going to get. I think it's going to be a very close technical fight. Maybe a bit of like Calvin Kattar, Dan Ige I could see here is kind of the fight we're going to get. And that was a great fight. So plus 173 is this parlay. I'd be very happy for that to cash. But again, I recognize the risk, but I don't know what the saying is, but no risk, no reward, that kind of thing.
Yeah, man.